So basically all you do is you back off the bolts just a little bit, you align them roughly with the channel, and then you pop them over in position and drop them into the channel. Like so, and then just give them a bit of a nip, tighten them up just a fraction. And what that does, it gives a little bit of extra bracing to the bolts underneath. And again, do not over tighten. There we go, so that's secure, and that's all we've got to do on that side. Now we've got to turn it around and fit the end stop on the other side. So I'll swing that around and we'll get the instructions out and have a bit of a look and see whether I'm right on what has to be done next. Okay. It looks like I should have installed the end stop first, I suppose. I've gone down to that one, whereas I could have gone perhaps to that one. It doesn't really matter, they're all pretty much the same. Doesn't matter whether you do this side first or the other side first. I've just chosen that side. Now we're doing this side. And once again, it's just a little end stop. And again, these little bolts, these little T-bolts. Now I learnt from the little Mini, the Creality Mini, it's easier to plug your power supply in first and then bolt it together. So I'm going to leave this till I actually reposition the printer itself in another room. Saves me a bit of time. So pretend at the moment that that's mounted where it's meant to be, but it isn't. I'll just move this around a little bit more, because something that's very important is down the bottom here. There's two little grub nuts that need to be tightened. If you don't have them tight, there's a good chance this will not work properly, your Z-axis. So they're the little grub nuts in there, so make certain that they're tight. And again, don't over tighten. You can strip threads fairly easy. And mine were actually tight on this one. They should be fairly loose when you get them, but whoever did this has left them tight, which is okay. I don't have a problem with that. But sometimes if they're left tight, what can happen is you can get your Z axis rod, it can get a bit of a bend in him. Yeah, that looks okay. There's no bend in it that I can see, so that's good. It's travelled nicely. Now I'm just going to turn the printer around again. And this time check the eccentric nuts. Now that's loose as all heck. There's nothing, no pressure on there. That's spinning and that's spinning. So these are all quite loose. So they need a bit of tightening up just to get it right. So we'll nip up the eccentric on the other side. And we just tighten them up just enough so we get a bit of movement in the arm itself. And that's perfect. And the next thing we'll be doing is installing the little colour strip. Oops, get that there. Which is pretty easy. So basically we just clip the little zip tie, get it open, and take out the little plastic here. And I've never seen this before, so what do we got? Looks like, how many pieces? Oh, I've got 2 pieces of it, it looks like. Okay, so we'll position them as per image, if I can find the end of it. Where are we? Ah, come on. Ah, there it is. Oh no, it's one piece. It's one continuous piece. I thought it was 2. No, there is 2. Where did that piece come from? 1. No, it's I tell a lie. It's actually in one continuous piece. I thought it was 2. It was just the way I was holding it. So they are There you go, one continuous piece of plastic. And we will turn it around again, just being careful. Put it that way this time. There we go. Okay, that'll do. Maybe I can position it back a little further. Yeah, that'll do. That's a bit better. Yeah, so basically all you've got to do is grab your bit of plastic, pop it in the little groove, get it up to where you want it to go, and where that section is in there. Just grab your nippers, snip it, and pop it in position. So I'll get it all set up, and you can have a look at the finished result. And there we are, all the yellowy, orange, coffee, whatever they call the colour. It's in position, and you've got a fair bit left over, so you don't have to worry about being too tight on cutting your corners. So give yourself a bit of room, and that's it. Now I've had a bit of a look at the glass. It looks like it's dead flat. I can't see any little bumps in it or waves. The first Creality that I got, which is the CR-10S, it had a little bit of a problem with the glass. It wasn't 100% dead flat, and this one looks, again, this one looks pretty good. The Mini was excellent, and this one looks alright too, so that's a good start. We'll pop it in its proper position shortly, and we'll go through the wiring, and I'll go over it a lot more user-friendly, I suppose you could say, than I did the last couple of times, because I have had a request to show exactly where everything goes, so I will do that shortly. Now I've just noticed something with the new printer. If you look at the alignment here of the belt, it's off quite a bit. It's actually rubbing against the cross member here, so I'm going to have to do an adjustment and move the belt over slightly. You can see I've brought it away from the edge here, so the actual belt is not rubbing against the extrusion anymore. There's not much clearance there, and what I've done, I've put a couple of little washers in behind the bolts that go in here, and I just was lucky enough to have a few of these things laying around. So there you go, you can read that, and they just fit in nicely in this side, so it's in the it's in behind here, so it just pushes the whole little metal bar across that direction just a fraction, so it just aligns the belt up a bit better. I'm not certain what's happened there. The bar looks pretty straight, so I don't think it's taken a hit. Maybe the nuts a little bit on the wide side. That's the other option. If you've got a thinner nut, you can always drop a thinner nut in that position there and put a couple of washers in, but I don't have any spares, so that's the one that was supplied, that's the one that's there. I've now got the CR-10 moved into a printer room, and I've completed the assembly, and I've made certain that all the bolts, that includes the frame bolts, were tight. I've gone over the entire printer itself, and I've also checked with a Phillips head screwdriver to make certain everything's nice and snug, as they say. I did find two bolts a little bit loose, but not bad. They would have been fine, but I'm a little bit of a nutter when it comes to things like this. I like everything spot on, so I've given them a little bit of tension. Now, in the previous videos, I've always glazed over very rapidly the electronics. It's fairly simple because you can't really make a mistake with fitting these things. I'll just give you an idea. There you go. You can see that one there. That's off the actual nozzle, and I'll move the other one back here. I might zoom in a little bit for you. So you can see they've got totally different pinouts. So on the back of the power supply, which I'll turn around, and I'll actually disconnect, I'll put that there. On the back of the power supply, you can see again, you really can't make a mistake with those pinouts. So we will right this moment connect them up.